Hello, good evening, and welcome to the FIA European Rally Championship. This is the season lockdown. And of course, welcome to our brand new weekly programme. It's ERC The Stage. And every week we'll be broadcasting live on our social media platforms from our lockdown locations around the world. Of course, I'm Chris Rawes. I'm in the garage at the moment, at the bottom of the garden. And Julian Porter, as always, joins us from somewhere else. Where are you anyway? I love these lockdown videos because everyone seems to be in their houses in various rooms hiding away.
Where else are you going to be? I mean, I do have beautiful fields all around, but I'm not sure the internet connection will be so great out there. But I'm upstairs and we've had a beautiful day, beautiful weather. So kind of like just been enjoying a bit of that, been doing my walking. And I'm waiting for some, as you call it, hot rally action to start.
It's been a long time since we were at the end of the final stage in Hungary, and we had our gala evening in the centre of Budapest in November last year. And we've been waiting for the season to start for quite some time. And as this pandemic rocks the world, we are here in lockdown mode, waiting for the ERC season to start. So we thought, what better way to give you some hot rally action than bring you ERC The Stage. And this week, Julian, for our opening programme, we've got some very special guests, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's a new programme for us. So where else do we start than with our champions, Chris Ingram and Ross Whittock? Whilst we all wait to see what goes on, we're going to catch up with them and see what they've been up to. And looking back at their season a little bit, a few months on, I mean, as you pointed out, we haven't worn these clothes since Hungary last year. This is only just dried since Hungary last year.
I've left mine in the bag since last year. In fact, when I came back from Hungary, I just dropped my bag in the room. And seriously, I haven't got this. But it's nice to get the kit back on again, isn't it? So we've got Ross on the line. We've got Ingram hopefully joining us. But before we get involved with those two, I'm not sure. I've got a blank screen. Hopefully we've got Ross somewhere. There we are. Well, it's like Celebrity Squares, isn't it? Well, we've got Ross in his room joining us this evening. Chris Ingram was in the Lake District up a mountain a short while ago before we came on air. So he will join us at some point. Ross, I hope you're okay.
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Spot on. Nice to see you. At least we've got the co-driver. Yeah. He's always on time, isn't he? Well,
I guess, the co-driver's always on time. So.
Yeah, you can't expect Chris to be on time.
No, never on time.
No.
I think while we wait for Chris to come down off the hill in the Lake District in the UK, hopefully we can roll the videotape of last year's very, very emotional final stage of the season when Chris and Ross became ERC champions. So we'll buy a little bit of time for Chris to join us, and let's just roll this tape, and then we'll talk about the calendar and all the other news and get in depth with Chris and Ross. As Chris Ingram comes to the end of the stage, front right puncture for Ingram. Ingram with a front right puncture. Chris Ingram. Yeah. Here you go. Here's Julian on the line. 131 for looking at 142 for you. 142 for you. You've done it. Should we go with you've done it?
I don't know.
Wow.
Congratulations, Chris.
Chris Ingram. We got there in the end. Your 2019 ERC champion.
Thank you so much to everyone who's helped me get here, especially Serkan and the whole team and all the 350 people who have helped us. I can't believe it.
To come in, missed out by 0.3 of a second RM rally on the junior title. He went into Cyprus leading it by 1 point, and to wrap up at the end of the season, Chris Ingram is
It's been such a hard year. I've not done this on my own. There's been so many people. None of it would have been possible. I've not done this. This is for everyone who's helped me. Ross has been unbelievable. You're the most reliable guy ever. I'm a complete dope. But Ross is the most focused person in the whole world. And the team have been absolutely amazing. The car's been perfect. thank you so much to Serkan for making this happen. John Coy, so many people.
Takes you back, doesn't it? Certainly takes you back. Chris, you join us on the line from the Lake District, from a very windy Lake District this evening. But Julian, I mean, that was just crazy at the end of that stage. I mean, where would we be without you? I sound like a complete blithering wreck there. But,
the thing, I was parked halfway between the stage end and Rally HQ, and I had Richard Rogers and Pluto on their phone. They were working it back because there was no internet, so they couldn't get times. And when you just said that, should we just go with "you've done it"? I mean, what were those two thinking when you said that?
What were you thinking, Chris Ingram and Ross? I mean, yeah, both. It was a tough time in November, wasn't it? Tough time at the end of that stage. Guys, what did you make of that?
Definitely. I hope everyone can hear me now. Massive thanks to you guys for hosting this. And hope everyone at home's okay. It's been a worrying time, but it's great to see you all. I'm in the Lake District and the signal's been perfect, so hopefully you can hear me now. First time I've got out of Manchester in the last 6 to 7 weeks, and it's really good to get out. So it's great to see you all and great to reminisce on winning the championship.
I mean, at the end of that stage, there was a lot of pressure, and Ross, you certainly held it together quite well. You know, Chris obviously, we could clearly see that the pressure was on him. Ross, but what was going through your mind at the end of the stage? Were you that bothered about winning the title, or do you just didn't want to be too late going back to service with all that the hold up that we had there?
Well, with the confusion, it was a bit. It was a bit uncertainty of whether they actually done it or not. But yeah, like you said, it was we were a little bit late getting to the next control because the stage had got cancelled. We had to get there on time. We were about 20 minutes behind schedule at that point. So yeah, that was one thing definitely on my mind. But yeah, I'm not very emotional, so yeah, don't expect that much from me.
You cried a bit.
We all did. A little bit.
That video at the end there, when they came into service and everyone was ushering the two of you outside, I genuinely had no idea what was going to happen. I thought there was going to be like a water bath and you were going to be thrown in it. But Ross, you were very reluctant to go there, weren't you?
Well, I thought the same as you. I thought they were going to pour champagne over us, and I had the time card in my hand. I thought, if this gets wet and ruined, that's us out.
But 2019 ERC champions, and you know, Chris, since then you've been all over the place, haven't you? Yeah, I mean, I turned on the TV the other morning, well, a few weeks back, and I was like, I recognise that voice, and it was breakfast telly on the BBC in the UK, and it was me, and it was you, and you were on the sofa on BBC Breakfast. So you've been certainly taking that trophy around with you, haven't you?
Definitely, it's been amazing, a whirlwind really. We've had so much interest since winning, and hopefully we can just get the sponsors to come back and fight for the title next. This year.
Serves him right going to the Lake District today.
I can't believe it's in the Lake. I mean, we're watching pictures, Ross, of the volcano while Chris is still there, but you do not. That's probably the first time you've seen that volcano from this kind of angle from the rally. But what is it like going across the top of there and the Azores as an event itself?
Yeah, that stage is pretty awesome. Yeah, but like you say, you can't see what's down below the sides when you're in the rally. but the Azores in general was just completely unique and different to anywhere else in the world. And yeah, the stage is just great fun, very, very technical and twisty. So yeah, I like that. I like that rally very much.
But do you see any of that stage? You know, when you're in it, do you just feel it? So can you feel all the stages of the ERC with your bum, or do you occasionally get to have a look at that fantastic volcano stage out the window?
Not too much. Really, the only stages you see is in Latvia when it's like 500-meter straights all the time. Everywhere else is just head down and feel your way through. Really.
When we do our recce, we always drive a couple of stages. We always go to the end of every stage, but we always drive a couple. We always drive that one, even though we do it every year. We always get out and have a look at the big drop. But onto Tarmac Canaries. I think Chris might be back with us now. Let's see what he thinks of Canaries.
Oh, maybe not. Chris Ingram, I hope you can hear us. But you know, Canary Islands.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chris. Yeah.
I don't know if you could hear what I said before. Yeah,
a little bit.
And to be honest, we started fairly well last year. The Azores and Gran Canaria are probably up there with my favourite events. And then I sort of went downhill a bit. I was putting far too much pressure on myself. I think you guys will remember I was always coming to the end of the stages really stressed out from then on. And then I had a bad few events, but yeah, Gran Canaria is always one of the highlights.
Chris, wanted to ask you, you know, you said you come to the end of the stages always stressed out, but at the start of the stage, you know, we always see you go through this routine of warming your hands up and slapping and come on and all this kind of stuff. Do you know that you're doing that, or is it just a natural kind of something that where you go into the zone, or are you just doing it just for fun?
Because I feel like I'm quite laid back, I try and pump myself up, and Ross is obviously really laid back, chilled out, and I just think sometimes I need to pump myself up that bit more before going into the stages. But then towards the end of the season, the more I relaxed, the quicker I went. So I'm not quite sure it actually works.
Yeah. But then you found this groove towards the back half of the season where you just seemed totally relaxed, which was you looked like you'd been meditating or at least practicing yoga or something, because there was something towards the end of the season that I noticed that you were just so chilled out. Are you really chilled out?
Yeah, there was such a fine line between, you know, overdriving and not being quick enough early on, and then I just took a massive step back halfway through the championship. Around the time of the Barron rally, because it just wasn't working, I was putting way too much pressure on myself, too stressed out with finding budget, everything, and then like I said, I took a step back and it came back to me, and we were able to push on again. Everything felt so much easier again.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're just listening there into Ross, and the event I remember was Poland. It was going pretty well in Poland, but then it all went a bit wrong on some. It was Sunday lunchtime, just after Sunday lunch, and Chris in his interview at the end of the season said he's a complete joke, and Ross keeps him a chair. That was evident on the roadside in Poland when Chris was trying to like fill a boiling hot radiator with water with no gloves on, and Ross was telling him all sorts. What do you remember that, Ross?
It was a little bit of a panic, to be honest, that bit. Yeah, we didn't really know what to do. We were on the phone to the engineer, and he was saying we need to put more water in because, you know, it would overheating. But you know, we did that once, and it still was overheating. And I just think it would have been better just to leave it and not bother to do anything with it. But yeah, you got to try something.
That's it. Our Chris talked about Barham there, and obviously all that pressure and things like that. In some ways, do you agree that missing out on the ERC1 juniors actually propelled you and Chris towards the main championship challenge? It was a bizarre situation. You lose one championship and actually take the lead in the main championship.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, but I think it was a lot of pressure taken off Chris at that point. It was like a new Chris Ingram appeared in Cyprus, and I think that in a way that did help us, for the overall championship, because it sort of focused him a bit more, and it allowed him to relax and really drive as he knows how to drive.
We're watching. Sorry, just to jump in, Julian. Just watching this footage. This is Saturday night in Barham on board with Chris Ingram that you're watching now on the screens. And Chris, I've seen this footage before a few times, and it absolutely blows me away. As Julian was saying the other day on the phone, that rallying at night is something special. But this stage, you can probably see from your mountaintop in the Lake District, is unbelievable. I mean, you're topping out about 183 kilometers an hour through the trees on asphalt in the dark. I mean, that's ballsy stuff, isn't it? Or do you just think it's normal sort of pace? Is he going to talk to us?
For me, that was one of the highlights of the season. That stage was unbelievable, and Ross and I, we knew we had to do an amazing job in there. We're in a big battle, as there always is in Barham. Lucky Nook had just retired on the previous stage, and it was really our chance to get in the top three and get ahead of Mahrez. So yeah, that was an epic stage. Unbelievable.
Just incredible speed. We've got loads of people messaging out to us through Facebook and social media this afternoon. Just got to say hello to people from Hungary. We've got people listening in Malaysia at the moment as well. And Simon Gibson saying that night stage, Chris, was absolutely very, very special. Something unbelievable to watch, and incredible footage. But yeah, from Ross, from your side, what's it like in the dark? Obviously, it doesn't make any difference, does it?
Oh, I quite enjoy the dark, to be honest. Coming from doing road rallies to start with, it feels normal to me.
Okay.
Well, that's it. But it's a really strange thing now. I find driving in the night. You're cocooned even in the daylight in this car, just the two of you. But then, soon as all the lights goes, it is just a completely different atmosphere. And it was my favorite time when I drove. And as Chris and Ross were saying, the lights in front of you. It is a special atmosphere, isn't it? Being out in the night.
100%. Ross and I absolutely love it in the dark. It's unbelievable, the atmosphere. For me, that's what the sport's all about, and we always go well. So we always look forward to night stages, difficult conditions, anything a bit different, and that's our strength, I think.
Ross, your debut rally, co-driving for Chris, your ERC Champions, both of you, for 2019. But just looking, Ross, your date of birth, you were born in 1991. I thought you were older than that, but
Can't say things like that.
Makes me feel old. I've got the lockdown hair going on, but 1991. Chris Ingram, when were you born? Massive delay on the line to the Lake District this afternoon. She was just talking to Ross for a minute. Forget Chris. Okay, let's move on. Ross Whittock, you're in the hot seat. Chris, just stand there and look attractive in that sunshine up there. Ross.
I'm just looking at these comments, like, as you say, Malaysia, Russia, people listening and watching from Malaysia and Russia. But Ross and Chris, if you can hear us, a question I've got is, we know that money was tight every rally. The pair of you were talking about money being tight. How tight was it? Were we getting to a situation you two were getting on a plane, doing a recce, but might not have started the rally? Was it that tight, or was it whenever you left the UK that you were going to start?
It was very difficult all year, and I knew that without the support from TalkSport, it never would have even got to the first round. So it was a very difficult situation, but thanks to, like I said, TalkSport, Michelin, all of our sponsors, and then at the end, over 350 people contributed to get us to the final 2 rounds with our crowdfunding campaign. It honestly would have never been possible without any of that, even to pay for hotels and everything, because it's such an expensive sport. So everyone saved us really, and for me, I'll be eternally grateful to everyone that helped us, because not only were we able to carry on, but we were able to achieve what we did. And I think what Chris said before about us being both born in 1990, I think we're the youngest ever crew to win the championship combined. So it's all thanks to everyone that helped us, because we never could have done it on our own or with any other team.
So what's next, Chris?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So you got the silverware. Julian, do you want to ask this question? You know, but
we don't know what we're doing in 2020 because we're in this lockdown situation. What is the plans for Chris Ingram and Ross Whittock and the European Rally Championship? Is there any plans?
Depending on budget, we're still looking for sponsorship, and obviously with the virus now, it's affected things quite a lot. But we've 100% we want to be back and we want to defend the title. And we've also got our eye on WRC2 as well. So we need to see what happens over the next few months. Obviously, the situation's the priority for everyone now, but we definitely want to be back in the ERC, and we definitely want to go and win some rallies, because we feel there's still a lot of unfinished business. So we hope we'll be back, definitely.
Wow. So come back and have another crack to see if you can win the title 2 times on the run, or yeah, that's big news, a big story, but big fight with
on the sponsors, Chris.
Yeah.
A lot of people said that because I didn't win a rally, then, you know, am I quick enough? Am I as quick as Lucky-Nock? And I totally disagree. I did what I had to do and did the best, and I couldn't risk anything. But I really want to go back and show them that I have got the pace as well.
Okay, good fighting talk. And sponsorship, I know that the COVID-19 the pandemic has caused issues right around the world. But I mean, how close were you to sponsors? Or are you nearly there, or is it just the final 5% to get them over the line? What sort of percentage are we at to get there?
Just as Corona broke out, we were negotiating all the deals with my current sponsors, so it was bad timing. But like I said, it's not the priority at the moment, and hopefully, like what we've achieved last year, and with all the amazing coverage we've had, and all the coverage thanks to you guys in the ERC as well, I'm sure we'll find a way. So fingers crossed.
That's good. The good news is as well, the coronavirus, you haven't missed any rallies yet. Nobody's had any rallies because the ERC hasn't started yet. We'll have some news in a bit from Julian on the rescheduled calendar for this year. So it'd be good to have you back.
I've got some questions about here and now. We'll start with Ross because he's been patiently sitting there. Lockdown. Scrolling through your social media and things like that, I actually sent you a text about the first thing, but Ross Whittock, football, goalkeeper, Bristol City fan. Come on, how does that all happen?
Oh, football was my first love. I think I started playing when I was 6 years old.
And you're talking about a goalkeeper. That's good.
Yeah, well, I was always a Peter Schmeichel fan.
Look at that photo. Sorry, I nearly spat my water out there.
Yeah, so I played. Well, I played football until I was about 17, and then rallying sort of took over my life. And then when I went to university, that's when I started playing football again. But after university, then I've officially retired from football now.
Were you any good?
I wasn't too bad.
The other thing with Ross, you can do Chris's questions, but the other thing with Ross is everyone seems to be doing sim racing. Now, Ross, I'm not sure whether you've been involved or not, and if you have, I'm unsure whether it's been successful. Have you been involved in sim racing, Ross?
I've given it a little go. I did Chris's Motorsport News Championship. I think I finished 1 rally out of 4, and I think I finished that one about 500ths or something like this. Yeah,
Well,
I'm alright until it gets. I'm okay until it gets dark, but by that time I've got no lights left, so then I'm definitely going off.
Going off.
Yeah.
Dear me.
Oh dear. Right.
Well, Chris Ingram's lockdown questions are basically sim racing, because he's done more seat time so far this year in his front room than he did all of last year. But Chris, you have been involved in a huge amount of sim racing this this 8 weeks.
Yeah. So it's taken up 90% of my time, and the rest of the time sleeping and eating. Luckily, my girlfriend got me a sim just before Corona struck, so it's been such a useful tool. I've never really played games until now, but I've been spending loads of time, and it honestly is such a good tool, and it's really helped me sort of keep sharp, but also even practicing technique and pace notes, everything. It's been a really good tool, and I set up the championship with Motorsport News. We ran 4 rounds, and it's been fantastic. There's been top drivers from all over Europe, all over the world, but also, you know, you've got the likes of Andrea Crugnola, Matt Edwards, guys like that competing against the best sim racers and the best gamers, which has been really interesting. And the pace and competition was amazing. So looking forward to keeping that going.
With the sim racing, Chris, you know, I've played on the PlayStation, you know, you've done circuit racing and so on, but you know, does it give you, when you come back to the ERC this year, does that give you, I don't know, a bit of a false sense of security in terms of if you make a mistake in the sim, as we can see here, massive offs, but do you think that maybe well, for the sponsors, you'll be able to press reset and start again? You know, does it give you a false sense of perception?
To be honest, Chris, I was so focused. You cannot make a mistake on the game, because sometimes it's even more unforgiving than real life. So I was taking it as seriously as a real rally, practicing each stage, and you know, real proper concentration. That's what you needed to do to be at the top pace. And I think on one of the events, on the CJets Acropolis rally, I was 4th out of about 3,000 people that entered, and I felt like I'd won a real rally. I was absolutely buzzing to be up with those guys that are really talented drivers. I honestly believe that some of these guys, if you gave them the chance in real life, they'd have it, because the techniques are all the same.
Did you run around your front room with your shirt over your head, spraying champagne to yourself, or?
You talk about people
in Finland. I cried because I had a barrel, a double puncher. So I was.
I've seen that before. That was when with Huttunen, didn't it? When Huttunen, when you were in the juniors, the under 27s. That was you didn't have the double puncture, but he did, and that pushed you.
But I bet Chris wouldn't last the stage.
This Chris?
No, you wouldn't last the stage.
Yeah,
I've got another question. I got another question for Chris Ingram, not Chris Ross. Obviously, Ross has talked about his love of football. You also have a massive love of football. And I'm sure I saw a tweet somewhere that you potentially could have got some Premiership footballers involved in the game. I mean, how does Chris Ingram get involved with Premiership footballers?
Manchester.
So, Man City, I've been a massive Man City fan my whole life. Ever since they were rubbish. And they've followed me. And when I won the junior title, that's when they first noticed me and invited me down to be interviewed. And then last year again, and I met Sergio Aguero. he said to me that the people in Argentina, they love it and they go crazy for rallying. So I've been trying to set up a race online with Sergio, and also David Silva, who's another one of our best ever players, is from Gran Canaria, and he's a big rally fan. So I've been really well supported by the club from a PR point of view, and I'm building my relationship with them, which is a dream, really.
Chris, just one question. I know it looks beautiful where you are up in the background there, but where are you in the Lake District? Are you in Bathurst or some Kendal, or where are you in the lakes?
I'm just up a mountain from Windermere, from Lake Windermere.
Nice.
And it's absolutely stunning. But it's, like I said, it's the first time I've been out of Manchester for 6 or 7 weeks. So it's been a great time to finally get out now. Lockdown's been eased.
Beautiful. And then Ross Whittock is sat. I don't know. You look like you're in a police station, I think, at the moment, with that backdrop behind you. Ross,
I'm in my lounge with the boring wall behind me.
you can't even afford pictures to put on the wall or anything, can you?
No.
No. So what's happening in your life at the moment? You know, what's happening work-wise as we speak? Are you keeping busy?
Yeah, well, I've had to go and get a job in a supermarket to keep the money coming in.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I work with Top Sport, with the rally team, doing coordination and team manager on events. And I went to WRC Mexico with them. And since we come back, there's been nothing happening. So yeah, I've had to go and get a job.
Like a real. I mean, people say, "Oh, go and work in the supermarket," but are you? Obviously, you don't really show much emotion. Is that a joke, or is that?
No, that's fully serious. I was there 6 o'clock this morning.
No way. Doing what?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, doing what?
Doing all your home shopping, all your online shopping.
Okay.
It's extremely boring.
Right.
Trust me on that.
But
So-
you say it's extremely boring, but full credit. You know, we got a 2019 European Rally Champion here who, instead of sitting on their bum, was like, I need to go and get some money. I massive credit to you. Huge credit to you.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I spent the first 3 weeks after I come back from Mexico just, working on the fitness and just lounging around at home, and then when the first bill come in for the rent, I thought I need to pay this somehow, so go and get a job.
So did being 2019 ERC champion, did that help you get the job? Did you mention it?
I mentioned it, but I don't think they understood what I meant.
Okay, just that you can shop really, really quick around the store. So is
the trolley gets a lot of oversteer on it.
Trolleys get oversteer on them.
Oh dear me!
Unbelievable, Ross. I honestly, I thought you were living the champagne lifestyle right now, just lounging on your sun lounger, your poolside in Saint-Tropez or somewhere like that. That's
I wish.
That's a story for Richard Rogers for the website.
I think that's a great story. I do. Chris, just looking at the time in the top corner, we have slightly overrun already. So yeah, exactly. It seems that Mr. Ingram has been blown off the mountainside at the hillside. So I think he's disappeared now. Ross, thanks for joining us. Chris, if you can still hear us, thanks for joining us. We're going to just run through a few bits of what is it that Chris Rawls calls it? Housekeeping, so to speak. But you can stay online for sure. We are finished with you for now, but we're going to just go through what we've got as a calendar. See, calendars keep changing left, right, and centre. And our calendar right now is we're due to start towards the end of July with the Rally de Roma de Capitale tarmac round. That'll be interesting, won't it, Ross? Then into Liepaja, another rally that yourself and Chris like. Barham Czech Rallies Lynn, round 3. That's normally towards the end of a season, which is interesting. Then we go to the Azores. I think everyone's looking forward to going to the Azores. You two have already mentioned about how great it is. October is Cyprus. Then it is November again for Hungary. And then interestingly, and I really don't know, and none of the teams have any data on this, Canaries in December, Ross. What do you think of that?
that's going to be completely different to what anyone's known before. Who knows what the weather's going to be?
I'm back.
Oh, he's in the car now.
My
Chris, we're
battery
just going
went
through.
from 90% to 1%.
No, right.
Oh man, we're just going through the calendar. Obviously, at the minute, everything's moving around, but Rome, Liepaja, Bahrain, Azores, Cyprus, Hungary, and Canaries finishing. What do you think of that? And the real one that strikes me is Canaries in December. We have no knowledge at all of that event at that time of the year.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really interesting. I don't even know what the weather's going to be like in that time of year. So it's good to have the rallies move around a bit because they've been the same the last few years. Yeah, I just can't wait. I just hope we can find a way to be there. But when can we start? That's the question.
That is the big question, isn't it? When can we start? So there is no answer to that right now.
Just a couple of questions coming in from people. I know that you can't answer these, boys. One is, what do you do about social distancing within the rally car? Chris and Ross, you need to stay in the UK. It's 2 meters apart at the moment. A few messages coming in saying about you, Ross. Good luck with the new job and good on you for going to get some money in working at the supermarket. Hello from Lithuania. We've got people in Italy. We've had people in Malaysia, over in the States. Watching us this evening, and you two guys, probably the best way to open our series of programs as we build up to the start of the 2019 ERC Championship.
20.
Yes, because you were the 2019 champion, so it's the next year when you're coming back to defend it this year. So I have to get that right, don't it? It's been a long time since Hungary at the start of November last year. So you're champions. We've got a newcomer coming to the championship as well, haven't we, Julian? We've got some new faces to get used to when we start this off. So Chris, Ross, be nice to our newcomer.
Well, that's it. We always have new drivers, don't we, joining? And Chris and Ross were new at one point. But one we've got for this week in this show, the first show, is Dennis Radstrom. And here's a little bit of an introduction from him.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dennis Radstrom. New driver in the ERC3 junior category in 2020. I'm coming from Sweden. I'm 24 years old and have been driving in the Junior World Championship for 3 years now. First year I competed in that championship, I was the Rookie of the Year, and then I became the first runner-up, and last year I went in third position. Great experience and had developed me and my co-driver a lot. For this season I will compete in ERC. I think it's a good step in me and Johan's career when we can develop ourselves in working with a team, and just a team who work with us and want one car to be as fast as possible, and I'll work about that. So really looking forward for a new challenge, new tough rallies and competitors, and stay safe everyone, and see you on the stages. Can't wait to be out there going flat out again.
Nice guy. Like him.
He is a nice guy, and he's got a lot of experience, as he said, in the World Championship. He's a lot of experience in Sweden, so it'd be interesting to see how he comes up with a lot of new drivers in ERC3 this season. So that will be, it's exactly what it's meant to be, new drivers all the time, and we've got a whole host of them which we're going to introduce each week, because this is a weekly show. 6:30 in the evening Central European time. For us it's 5:30 back in the UK. We're not sure of our guests next week. Well, we have an idea, but we're not going to tell you in case they can't come. They might be up a mountain somewhere else. So, but we'll see. But again, I just want to say thanks to Chris Ingram, to Ross Whittock, Chris Rawls. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Ross, Julian. Well done. Well, that was our lockdown special. This is ERC The Stage, our first broadcast. We'll be back, as Julian says, next week on Wednesday evening with some new guests. So that was it. Of course, send us your comments. What do you think of this? Let us know via the social media outlets. Of course, and get in touch with us at the ERC. We've got another guest joining us. Is Chris Ingram, just to say goodbye, who's gone from 90% to 1%. What's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing. He probably doesn't realise he's still on. So
Chris
right,
Ingram's
let's
here.
go. We're finished.
Oh, there he is. Look at that lockdown here.
There he is.
Next week on Wednesday evening with some new guests.
He's listening to us back now. Oh,
Of course,
right. See you.
We'll be back next Wednesday.
Get in touch with us at the ERC. Another Chris Ingram just to say goodbye. We're getting